What is going on today, everybody? It's Buddy here. In this video, you guys are going to learn how to replace your oil filter housing gasket in your BMW with an N52 engine. Common BMWs with the N52 engine are all 2006 to 2013 BMW 3 Series like the 318, 320, 323, 328, 330, just not the 335s, as well as the 1 Series, all the same numbers behind, but no 35 at the end. Also some Z4s and some X3s. So the very first thing we're going to want to do is remove this air box and remove this vent here just to give ourselves a little extra space to work. So the first screws we're going to take off, we have a T20 right here, and then we have another T20 right here. And in case you don't know what a T20 is, T just stands for Torx, which are just star heads. I'll put a link in the description for the best rated one on Amazon so you guys can pick up a set. If you're looking to do any DIY work on your BMW, you're definitely going to need a Torx set. And what that does is it gives us access to remove this part right here. So next, we're going to start working right here on our airbox. So to start the removal of our airbox, we're going to have 1 and 2 10mm bolts here that we're going to take out. Now coming back over here, we're going to have a hose clamp that we need to remove, and we're also going to have a wire going to our airflow sensor we're going to need to take off as well. So we're going to start with a flathead screwdriver and we're going to loosen up this hose clamp. And then we're going to work on that airflow sensor wire connector. So we're going to take a mechanic pick, we're going to pry up right here and then push it out just like that. Now after we remove these two 10mm bolts and our hose over here, we're going to go ahead and just grab this, give it a sharp yank, and it'll pull right out. So now you guys can see without our airbox here, we have all kinds of room to work on our oil filter housing. So this next step is get our oil filter cap off. Now they do make a tool for this. It is on Amazon and I will leave a link in the description. I believe it's about $20, but my preferred tool is just a big pair of locking pliers. Now these things are super tight. That's why they do make a tool for them, but you will need something like these or the actual tool to get it off because usually an oil filter wrench doesn't usually do it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get our cap. And with our filter in it, and we're just going to put it in a bag here. Then we're going to take some rags and we're going to suck up all the oil we can out of our housing. We're doing all this just to make sure we don't make a big mess when we take this off. So now that we got everything cleaned up, I'm going to show you guys the 4 screws that are holding the filter housing in place. So the first 2 are going to be in pretty obvious sight. We have the first one right here. We have the second one right here. The third one is going to be facing the other way, so the head of the bolt is actually right here, and then the last one is hiding right back here. So we're going to start here on one of the easier ones. This is the bottom bolt. We're going to stick that on, and this is going to be an E12. And in case you guys don't know what an E-socket is, essentially it's just a Torx bit, but in socket form, so it's a female Torx. If you guys are going to be doing DIY work on your BMW, you're definitely going to need a set of these because BMW loves to throw these star bolts in there. And as always, I will leave a link in the description for the highest rated one on Amazon. And then we're going to start here on the top one, which is an E10. So now that we got these 2 off, it's time to move to the other ones that are a little more tricky. We're going to start with this one down here. And what I'm going to use is an 8mm 12-point wrench here. So I'm going to stick this down here by the belt. Use my finger to fit it on. And then we're going to break it loose. There we go. So if we take our socket here and we try and fit it on there, it's too long because the bottom of it is going to bump into this hose clamp. You can't really take this hose clamp. This is a high pressure hose clamp here. It's not removable. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to finish it off with this. And what will happen once you start loosening this up enough, you will start leaking some radiator fluid. So keep a rag here because you don't want this stuff to get all over your belt. So when you start your car, your belt could fly off. And once you get it loosened up enough, you can actually start twisting it out with your fingers. And we got it. So the very last one is going to be this one tucked back here behind the intake manifold. So how we're going to get that is we're going to use an extension with the universal adapter, and then we're going to use a E11. We're going to slide it right here between our oil filter housing and our intake manifold. We're going to get it right there on our bolt, and then we're going to go ahead and pop it loose. Now after we got that last bolt back here taken off, our oil filter housing is free to move. So what we're going to do next is we're going to work on this little electrical connector here. We're going to take our mechanic pick and we're going to pop this little metal bracket out. Just push it down like that. And then we're going to yank this out. Now once we got that yanked out, we can go ahead and take our oil filter housing and move it off to the side here. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to take some kind of engine degreaser. We're going to spray it on a rag. We do not want to spray it in our oil or in our coolant. And then we're going to gently just clean off the mating surface here. So now that we got our mating surface all nice and clean over here, we're going to move on to our oil filter housing. And we're going to start removing the gasket. We're going to take our mechanic's pick here. We're just going to slowly work at this gasket here and see if we can get it up in one piece. All right, so we got it lifted. We can pull it out. Yeah, this thing is old and cracked. It is way past due. So we're going to clean this off real quick. We'll take a rag, we'll take a flathead screwdriver, and we'll just kind of work in all the little grooves in here. Get any loose pieces of grime or any loose pieces of gasket that fell off. Now we're going to take our new gasket. We're going to get a little oil on our finger. And we're going to rub the whole gasket down. Just get it nice and lubed up. And then we're going to fit our new gasket here in our oil filter housing. Now we'll go ahead and we'll slap it back on with our new gasket in place. Make sure the gasket doesn't move out of the way or slip. And then we'll just put this top bolt and this bottom bolt in place just to hold it in there and make sure the gasket doesn't slip out. Now you're going to want to keep this top bolt a little bit loose because this bottom one will not go in if this is all the way tightened. So you're going to want to work this one in before you tighten this all the way in. And we're going to work this in with our hands first. And again, we're going to use a 12-point wrench here. I do have a ratcheting one that I found. And we're going to go ahead and tighten it up the rest of the way. So now that we got this bottom bolt all secured, we can go ahead and torque down this top one. And then we can torque down this bottom one all the way. Let's not forget our little electrical connection right here. Then we have our little metal tab. We got to push up, locks it in place. And we're also going to tackle our last bolt with our little extension and our U-joint. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our oil filter cap back in place. Now we can go ahead and reinstall our air box. And last but not least, we're going to install our little intake vent. Also guys, if you haven't already, check out the channel where I have a bunch of high quality BMW DIY videos like headlight housing removal, headlight replacement, radiator replacement, how to test and replace your spark plugs and initial coils, and much, much more. And if you're interested, my most popular video is me buying a beat up BMW E90, fixing it up and selling it for a few $1,000s profit.